artists know or like Dayan, but an academician from the university specializing in modern Indonesian history, juga sebagai kawan lama dengan Aceh sejak tahun 1997 sewaktu saya mendaftarkan diri sebagai mahasiswa tamu di Sheffield University di bawah bimbingan Bapak almarhum Profesor dari. I have been researching Aceh since before the tsunami and have been involved in the process of post-tsunami reconstruction, mainly from the perspective of culture and society. I am researching how the experience of disaster changes society, focusing on its positive aspects. And after the tsunami, every year I visit Aceh to collect records of social change. Today, I will talk about the challenges, practices, and prospects of post-disaster archives by introducing the activities of my institution, the Center for Southeast Asian Studies, Dawood University, in terms of building up tsunami archive. Next, please. This is the outline, please. Next, please. I start from collective memory of pandemic disaster. Next, please. So first, I will share the challenges of collective memory of pandemics and disasters, showing the case of 1918 flu or Spanish flu. In 1924, Encyclopedia Britannica published a 2-volume history of the 20th century thus far. More than 80 authors contributed chapters to this book these eventful years. But the books with 1,300 pages never mentioned a catastrophic pandemic that had killed millions of people worldwide only 5 years earlier. Until quite recently, the pandemic had remained strangely faint in the public sphere compared with other momentous events of the 20th century, such as the sinking of Titanic and Apollo moon missions. Next, please. So why did the memory of such a catastrophe disappear from society's memory in just a few years? Dr. Watch notes that collective memory seems to depend largely on narratives with a clear beginning, middle, and end. And yes, the 1918 flu did not meet this criteria. Not like World War I, 1980 flu had no heroes, no villains, no victories, and no defeats. Invisible enemies such as the 1980 flu made little narrative sense. It had no clear origin, but killed people in multiple ways and go out without being understood. Without a narrative schema to anchor it, the pandemic all but vanished from public discourse soon after it ended. Next, please. So here the question arises, how will we remember the COVID-19 pandemic? The COVID-19 pandemic is like a slow, invisible tsunami. It hit repeatedly in short periods. And the COVID-19 pandemics have different characteristics from general natural disasters. It is difficult to separate affected areas from non-affected areas. Quarantine without symptoms. Gap between damages counted and what we feel. How we made the narrative schema to anchor it for building collective memory. Next, please. Natural disasters present the same challenges. Responses to disasters can be understood as a cycle with no ending, as shown in this diagram. Since disasters occur repeatedly in the same areas, albeit with longer or shorter cycles, to respond to one disaster is preparation for its next disaster. In this point, disaster response is a process of change that aims toward the better state of being. Next, please. Next, please. Before considering the role of disaster archives, let's see what is going on at the time of disaster in terms of information and knowledge. First, at the time of disasters, the vulnerability of the society is exposed. The damage is not even. Disaster damage, the weak points are big parts of society. And we can focus on and start specific response to the weak parts. Hence, it could be opportunities for social reform. Second, after the disaster, data is a foundation of recovery. It is required for the reconstruction of life and economy, as well as for psychological recovery and rebuilding local identity. Third, it is a process of change. Pre-disaster situation is in danger of amnesia. The loss of continuity of the society occurs between pre and post. Under these circumstances, disaster archives are expected to, first, be present lesson learned to prepare for next disaster. Second, be a record of change. Third, be a basis for collective memory. Please. Based on these recognitions, now it is clear that post-disaster archive is not the record of the event, but the record of the process of rehabilitation and reconstruction, as well as the record of the memory. To meet these goals, two things are important: preserve the fact and record the story or narration. The preservation of the original data is to secure the evidence for fixing the facts. One thing we must keep in mind: at the scene of a disaster, we very often pay attention only to the recording of impressive scenes and characteristic events. But record of surroundings that are not directly damaged is also required. To monitor and to record the story, how people tell their story, is also in order to record the connotation and significance in the social context. Testimonies, billboards, graffiti, novels, movies, and so on. There are various sources that refine the way of narratives after disasters. Next, please. So far, we have cooperated with TDMRC and MIK Japan University to build the Aceh Tsunami Archive. The types of materials we have collected are diverse, including visual materials, articles in serial publications, and testimonies of victims and supporters. Based on this data, we have published books and released digital archives, and we try to transmit in multiple languages so that Aceh's experience can be shared outside Aceh. We are also developing a smartphone application to record ongoing process to enable non-specialists to participate in the process of building archives. Next, please. One of the applications we developed is ATTM, Aceh Tsunami Mobile Museum. The basic concept is to record the material as it is inside, leaving the materials in its original location, then turning the city of Banda Aceh itself into a living museum. Traditional museums do select, collect, and preserve things that have value even when the date of place and time are removed. Collected materials are required to be preserved in the state in which they were collected. As I mentioned earlier, this work is essential in terms of preserving the evidence that establishes the facts. Equally important is the record of change. As reconstruction goes on, the appearance experience of materials will change. So will its social context belong to the materials. Because the material is a living, active entity in society. This image, flowers picked from the field and exhibited in beds. We can enjoy their beauty, the beauty, but once picked, the flower does not bear fruit. What bears fruit is a flower that lives with roots in fertile grass. Bunga dikutip dan dipamerkan dalam pot, kita bisa menikmati keindahannya, tetapi sekali dikutip, bunga tak berbuah lagi. Yang berbuah adalah bunga yang hidup berakal di bumi semua. Sleep. So how can this type of catch and release activity be achieved for post-disaster material? We have developed two applications, Aceh Tsunami Mobile Museum and Memory Hunt. ATMM takes pictures of a specific location every year and visualize the record of changes on the map. Even without going to Aceh, you can see the process of damage and reconstruction in Aceh through maps and photographs. When you visit Aceh with this application and stand at the location by using AR technology, you can see the past image of that place. Next, please. Another is memory hunt. We archive 3 types of photographs of specific locations: before the tsunami, immediately after the tsunami, and after reconstruction. When you are on site with this application, you can take a selfie of yourself at the same angle as the archived photo. Next, please. With these two applications, we support both those who monitor Aceh from outside and those who come to Aceh and want to observe on the ground. So far, the application is bilingual in Japanese and Indonesian and works on Android phones only. Now we are looking for people who are interested in English version development and iPhone development. Next, please. For last part, I show you how the story of Aceh's tsunami tragedy is being progressively passed on to people outside Aceh. This is an example where, through constant communication and collaboration, the experience of the tragedy is remembered and told, while recording media, topic, and narratives are changing. We had an international workshop in Aceh, and a Japanese film director filmed the workshop. So please next. Then the director was interested in the lives of Aceh people after the tsunami and produced a joint Japanese-Indonesian film. The title is The Man from the Sea. The popular actor who starred in the movie was so impressed with Acehese coffee. Then he added Acehese coffee into the Japanese yogurt, sweet berry jelly. This yogurt was instilled in wrapping paper with a map of Banda Aceh. Next, please. You will see tsunami tourism attractions on the wrapping paper, such as the Apple Ship and the Tsunami Museum. Those who bought this sweet yogurt are fans of this popular actor. This popular So this is how people who had no interest in Aceh or Indonesia find out about Aceh, to get to know about Aceh. So I show you the last 2 slides. Next, please. Last 2 slides are messages from people who experienced the Aceh tsunami and its subsequent recovery. I hope that their words will inspire you and encourage you to take action for change for a better future. So I think I omit to read out the contents, but please you can check the contents by downloading the file. Thank you very much.